Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being with us. I'm Braulio Rosa, Executive Director of the Broward County Bar Association. It is my honor and privilege to be interviewing today a local Broward County icon, longtime attorney, and now mediator, Hyram Montero. Hi, welcome.
Thank you, Braulio. My pleasure to be here, man.
So you, as I said, you were a litigator for a long time, super successful, highly respected, and now you've transitioned into mediation. So can you tell us a little bit about that and your mediation practice?
Absolutely. Having litigated for 40 years, starting as a defense lawyer, representing insurance companies throughout the state of Florida, and then moving over to the plaintiff side, where I litigated every type of case, mainly aviation cases, inadequate security cases, very complex construction site type of cases. I came to a point in my life where I felt that I needed to try to resolve cases because my years of experience have shown me every case has strengths on one side, strengths on the other side. As a litigator, you're always advocating and you're always pushing forward a case, standing on the strengths of your case. But we all know, whether you're on the plaintiff side or the defense side, that there is no black and white, that every case has weaknesses. Every case has some wrinkles in every position. So as a mediator, having had the experience of trying cases both as a defense lawyer and as a plaintiff lawyer, I can identify where those weaknesses are on each side and where those strengths are on each side. Once you have both parties agree, at least recognize what their weaknesses are, then, my friend, we're at a point where we are starting to build a bridge. And that is the bridge that both parties can travel on in order to resolve their case. And I have been successful as a mediator so far because I'm able to identify those weaknesses and those strengths that each side has, and more importantly, bring the attorneys on both sides to admit to where those weaknesses and strengths are, and then I can build upon that. That becomes the foundation. It's like building a house, Braulio. You've got to start with a foundation, and the foundation, if you have the right material, then you can build that house up. And at the end of the day, it's the resolution of a case, because litigating cases today and going before a jury, it's always a crapshoot. How many times have I gone into a trial thinking this is a case that, as a defense attorney, there's no way that a plaintiff is going to be successful in this case, or as a plaintiff's lawyer, there's no way that I'm going to lose this case. And it happens because it all depends on 6 individuals. And you really spend a lot of time litigating these cases. And at the end of the day, you have no idea if you're going to be successful at the end, because it all depends on 6 people. And then you have appeals. Then you're dependent on the appellate court. So a good resolution is much better for both sides. And that's what I aim to do in my business as a mediator.
Is that the secret sauce for you to convince these attorneys to get on that bridge with you? Because, being a lawyer tends to be adversarial, right? So how do you, and it takes, it's type A kind of people that are definitely, they want to go in and fight and win for their clients. So how do you get them to realize, yeah, there's some weak points there that can hurt me?
I think when an attorney respects you as someone with experience, listen, there are a lot of mediators out there, but many mediators out there really haven't tried a lot of cases. When you have been in the trenches litigating these cases, sitting through depositions, going through documents that you receive, going through interrogatories, briefing depositions, preparing for trial, and being surprised sometimes with a witness at a trial, let me assure you, there are battle scars that we all have as litigators. And we share that, whether you're a plaintiff's lawyer or a defense lawyer. You want to do the best for your client. And you know what? Most of the time, the best for your client is arriving at an amicable resolution and bringing closure to a litigation. And that's what I aim to do. How do I get the attorneys on both sides to acknowledge that? I have to speak to them honestly and discuss with them their case. And I have to identify immediately where I see the case going. And I'm pretty good at picking up where this case is going to end up, whether I'm going to be able to resolve this case. And I'm very, very blessed that I've been able to so far to date, resolve every one of the cases that I've mediated. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm bringing resolution. I know that at the end of the day, when I speak to the individual plaintiffs, and sometimes when the plaintiffs don't speak English, the fact that I can speak to them in their native language, that I can speak to them Spanish, and I also speak Italian, that I can speak to them in their native language, and I can understand Portuguese, and I can speak to them in their language, that makes them feel like, hey, you know what? This mediator is doing his best to try to bring closure to this case. And that's what I can do.
So talk a little bit about, because this kind of segues perfectly into your values, the culture you bring from your practice, your years of practice in mediation, and how that helps you help your clients, which in this case really is the two attorneys in a sense that you're trying to bring across that bridge and meet somewhere halfway.
Well, that's a great question. In my practice as a litigator, I was, you know what, since I was 5 years of age, I wanted to be an attorney. So this is the only thing I've ever wanted to do in my life. And being a trial lawyer is something, I used to go when I was in high school and watch trials in Chicago at criminal court or in civil court. I would love to, I'd ride my bike and I'd go downtown and I would just sit there and watch trials because I thought that was entertainment for me as far as I was concerned. I was in love with the profession. I was in love with the advocacy of litigators. It's a gentleman's fight, I guess you call it. And I'm not trying to be sexist, but when you're a kid, you'd have fights after a football game or a baseball game, and you'd forget about it. But a litigator it's a professional engagement it's a fight of the minds, right? It's a chess game, and I love chess. So I loved that aspect of it always. Now, moving forward, what I also did, not only litigate, but I was also have been involved from the beginning with community organizations. In order to really identify who your audience is going to be in a trial, jurors, it's important to be involved in organizations that take you outside of the legal profession. Sometimes lawyers are on tunnel vision. You're involved in only organizations that you're going to be hearing other lawyers. You need to step outside of that sometimes. I did that. I've been involved for years as a mentor for Take Stock in Children. I've been involved with the Henderson Clinic. I've been involved with Light of the World Clinic, where I'm president of the organization. I've been involved with Hispanic Unity of Florida for many years. When you're out there and you are really associating yourselves with people that are not attorneys, you identify the pool that you will be selecting as jurors in a case. Both as a plaintiff's lawyer, I did that, and as a defense lawyer, I did that. So I believe bringing that knowledge, that experience into a mediation is very important, because as I was telling you from the beginning, I like to get each party to recognize what his weakness or her weakness is in a particular case, be it a plaintiff or a defense lawyer. I can then start building that bridge, because we start discussing what jurors will do in these type of cases. And it's important. I am only a facilitator as a mediator. I'm not an advocate. But you can facilitate a settlement. Number one, when there is trust, you build that trust with the attorneys that are before you for a mediation. When they respect you and they trust you, then they're willing to help you build that bridge. And that's what we do at Montero Mediation. We build the bridge that resolves these cases.
I love that, building the bridge.
That's
a good one. So bringing your talents, your unique talents in many ways, and building that bridge.
Yeah.
Talk about a unique situation or case where you've brought that to bear and it's helped you bring that resolution.
I had a case that I mediated recently. When we started the mediation, the plaintiff's attorney told me that there was no way he was going to settle this case because he was convinced that the insurance company was never going to pay him the amount of money that would settle the case. During the course of the mediation, I started looking towards way of building that bridge that would lead me to a resolution. And I did that by engaging each attorney, the defense attorney with his adjuster or her adjuster, the plaintiff's attorney with his or her client. And you get to know the client, the plaintiff, during those breaks that you have where you're having a conversation. And as I started putting the pieces together, I became convinced within an hour of that mediation that this was a case that I was going to be able to build that bridge. And it took us 6.5 hours, but we settled that case. And we settled that case for more than the insurance company wanted to pay, but for less than the plaintiffs wanted to receive. And that's it. When you walk out of a mediation as an advocate, and it's a give and take in life. Every day in life, it's a give and take. Remember the old Rolling Stones song, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need.
All right, you're quoting Mick Jagger now.
I like Mick Jagger, but he's right. We can bring him into the mediation because it's the truth. Doesn't matter whether you're buying a house or you're renting your first apartment or whatever it is in life you're doing. You're buying a car. My friend, it's all about that. You're always negotiating. You're always mediating. You're always trying to resolve. And at the end of the day, let's be frank. Everything in life gets resolved and everything comes to pass. It always does. And that's what we have to do.
I've heard, I was here like layman's term, the happy medium.
Yes.
But then talking to lawyers and mediators sometimes, or specifically mediators, like, you've done a good job when neither party walks out fully happy. Is there truth to either of those phrases?
I don't like the idea of neither party walking out happy. I like, at the end of the mediation, I am satisfied as a mediator, and I feel that I've done my job if both parties walk out of the mediation knowing that the right thing was done in settling the case. It's not a question of being happy or not happy. It's agreeing on the fact that the best thing to have happened this day at this mediation is to resolve this case and bring closure to this case.
I like that answer better because I've heard so many times, you've done a good job when neither party walks out fully happy. And I'm like, God, that's not good. I didn't think.
If both sides walk away not happy with the situation, they may not call you again as a mediator.
Right?
And I'd like to be able to service more people in the future.
Absolutely. So you had talked earlier about your involvement in the community.
Yes.
Elaborate about that. I know you are heavily involved in various organizations.
Early in my practice, I felt that it was important to go out in the community, to become involved with different organizations, because that would educate me on prospective jurors, on the needs, the wants, the way people outside of the legal community think.
Most of the world,
yes. And let's be honest about it. Lawyer jokes. Most people don't like lawyers. They only go to a lawyer when they absolutely positively have to.
right?
So we're not at the top of people's trust. I think we're somewhere near used car salesman. So it's the truth. Let's accept it. And as an attorney, I wanted to differentiate myself from the pack in that manner. I wanted to make sure that when a client came to my office, he or she was satisfied not so much by what I knew, but how much I cared. I always gave my clients my cell phone. And my wife will tell you, at all hours, I would get phone calls from clients. They needed to know that they could reach me because they had come to my office to assist them on something that was very serious and important to them. In the wrongful death cases, in the seriously injured cases, people will call you because you are their link to a resolution of a problem that they're facing. And then with emails it was different, but initially with a cell phone, I was getting calls all the time. And you know what's interesting, Braulio? I get calls sometimes. I've handled a lot of cases over the years. I've been invited to weddings of former clients' kids. I've resolved cases. One that comes to mind, it's a wrongful death case. A Mexican gentleman was killed in a construction case here. He had 11 children in Mexico. And we were able to successfully resolve the case. I went down to Mexico. And when I went to Mexico and I met the family during the course of litigation, then I went down when the case settled. And I then became a mentor to those kids. And they would started calling me Tio, which was like uncle afterwards, because I was giving them advice on, if you're a good tradesperson, this is what you need to do. If you want to go to school, this is what are you interested in, whether it's engineering, whether it's teaching, whether it's nursing, whatever it was. And I followed them over the years. I built a relationship with those clients of mine and their families that I have carried forward to this date. It's not that I finish a case and I close it, I forget about it. I don't. They spent a few years with me during the course of litigation. I remained their contact in the future. And I want to do the same thing in mediation. When I'm handling a mediation for two attorneys, I want at the end of that mediation for them to say, you know what, Hyram Montero, you can trust. Hyram Montero is there to make sure that at the end of the day, we're going to build that bridge together to resolve this case. And we do, and we will. And that's what I want to do at this point in my life.
Building bridges, I think that's going to be your new tagline. I love that.
Why not?
I love it.
That's what we're doing.
So tell me, what does that set you apart from others? Is it the fact, I know you really care, you talked about that, and you want to find resolution. Talk a little bit about what you think really sets you apart from other mediators.
You know what, I'm a human being like everyone else. I'm just another speck of sand on this beach, and I'm here at Hotel Earth for the season that the Lord allows me to be here. But I don't live my life thinking what differentiates me from others. The only way I'm happy leading my life is that people can trust me, that people know that they can depend on me, and more importantly, that people know that I care. And that's all.
So how do you pay it forward? I know you have years of experience as a litigator, and now your mediation. You bring so much to the table. How can you pay it forward and help the future?
You know what? Every generation has an obligation to leave this world a little bit better than when he arrived here. That's why I say this is like Hotel Earth, and we're here for a season. Yeah. We're here for a season. That's the duty and responsibility and obligation of every generation, is to do that. As a litigator, the younger attorneys that came through my firm, I always told them that, and I used to enjoy going to trial and teaching them how to take depositions, teaching them how to brief depositions, enjoying picking juries with them, and making closing arguments with them, and picking their brain on cases. We have an obligation as attorneys to mentor the next generation of lawyers. As a mediator, I want to bring those talents so that I can facilitate the resolution of these cases. And that is what I believe I can do because of my experience outside of the legal profession in the community. And within the legal profession, my experience both as a plaintiff's lawyer and a defense lawyer. I'm not a closed-minded person. When I handled the case as a defense lawyer, I recognized what my weaknesses were. When I handled the case as a plaintiff's lawyer, I recognized what those weaknesses were in my case. And I can say for the most part, the years of practice that I had, I never, ever burnt any bridges with defense lawyers. I always, as a plaintiff's lawyer, I always made sure that we had a good working relationship. And you do that from the onset. Doesn't matter which side you're on. And that's it.
So some of the final thoughts on building bridges.
Yep.
What would you want to tell the attorneys out there about your mediation group and why Hyram Montero?
I would say that if you're looking for a mediator that wants to be a messenger back and forth, I'm not your mediator. If you're looking for a mediator that will take the time to understand your case, to understand your point of view, and to be able to identify the weaknesses in your case with you and allow you to work with me at building a bridge to resolving a case, then I'm your right mediator, because I do care and I want to make sure that I am going to satisfy the needs of your client in bringing resolution to a case. And that's the goal of Montero Mediation.
It's been a pleasure, but before we close out, Sinatra or Tony Bennett?
Hey. You know what? My wife is a heck of a singer, as you know, because we've gone karaoke, and she always has me sing "My Way" at the end of the night, and I only sing that song when I know that everybody else has been singing for a while.
It was a pleasure singing with you, sir. We had a good time singing
Absolutely.
Sinatra, and I think you were a little bit better than me, but I'll keep working to get better.
All right.
Thanks.
Braulio, thank you
Thanks,
for having
Hiram.
me here.
I
My pleasure,
appreciate
sir.
Thank you.